Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits Motor Chaos. It's your host, Dave. I got online special guest, Nitro funny car driver, Kebin Kinsley. How's it going, Kevin?
Doing pretty good. How are you tonight?
I'm good. So you gonna run funny car chaos this weekend?
Yes, we are, and excited about it. It's a new team, and well, actually, it's Shane and Howard Ferris. They've been running fuel alters for years, and actually ran against them back when I drove the Nitro junkie car for Roger Hennon, the guy that I drive for now. And they run really strong, and they actually had a bad accident in Eddyville last year at the Fuel Alter Nationals. It got rear-ended actually by their old car. The guy ran into the back of them, and it hurt the car pretty bad, so they bought this car from Bob Tasca, the chassis, and then Shane came and helped me when I ran my funny car at the Funny Car Chaos last year, and they had a ball, so they decided to get the body from Tasca, and then they put it on over the winter, and got it all going, and so anyways, here we are. And his dad, they put his dad in it to see how he felt with it, and they set the body down, and he said, well, you might as well go ahead and call Kev, because he's claustrophobic.
Okay.
So I kind of got the gig by accident, but and then so we went and tested with it the other day, and we kind of had the new car blues with it, working out some of the bugs. I think we got most of them worked out, so it should be pretty good. We got a one test pass on Friday afternoon, and then we're going to make a qualifying pass Friday evening, and then we're actually going to run our top fuel dragster there too. We were trying to make Gainesville with it, and we ran into some issues getting parts. Cylinder heads, we're waiting on them to come in. We bought 4 new sets of cylinder heads from Alan Johnson, and they were just backed up. And anyway, we didn't get them till about a week ago, so we got those ready to go, and then we're waiting on clutch discs and floaters and stuff like that, and they finally all came in. So we're going to go make a couple hits this weekend and then get ready for the Houston race coming up in the middle of April.
So now you're gonna be doing anything with the Wild Child funny car this year?
Yeah, we've updated it also. We put a bigger blower on it. We put a bigger fuel pump, and we had a 4-disc clutch in it, but I'm going to put a little bit different style. We're going to put a 9-stand clutch in it. I think it's going to be a little more fitting for what we're trying to do. You don't have a lot of time between rounds of service this thing, so basically we want to zero the clutch on the valves, change the oil, fill it back up with nitro, and go to the starting line. So we want to run it hard, but we want to run it, where it's not going to hurt itself. So we put a bigger fuel pump on it, like I said, and we put a bigger blower on it, but we're not going to spin it as hard as like we do the dragster and stuff. But it's getting really competitive. They had 31 cars there last year, and they've got over 20 entered already this year. So they're actually going to have 2 races at the Benton track. So looking forward to it. It's hometown, and we get a lot of my customers and my boat racing friends and car racing friends, and so it ought to be pretty fun. It'll be crazy. There'll be a lot of people there. Like I said, with a good turnout of cars, it's going to be a good show, I think.
Oh yeah. So now I read that you're a 15-time drag boat world champion, huh?
Yes, sir. I've actually been racing boats since I was 14. I raced with my mom and dad. I started with them, and then when they sold everything, I just became like a hired gun. Just started driving for other teams, and then got involved even more with it. We built a lot of the hardware parts for drag boats, and we do a lot of capsule updates and put new windshields in them and all that kind of stuff. But, so I stayed pretty heavily involved in it pretty much year-round. We just sent out like 5 drag boat struts. The struts are what the propeller shaft goes through, and when it goes out the back of the boat, the propeller goes on. We build quite a few of those, and a lot of the hardware that goes on the back of the boat. A lot of custom stuff at my shop. We've got a full machine shop and fabrication shop, and we do. It keeps you busy. We do a little bit of everything, so we're never slow. It seems like, but that's just what we do.
And you have a record 235 mile per hour on land and water in a quarter mile?
Actually, we broke that. We ran 267 miles an hour last year in Grove, Oklahoma, in 1,000 feet in the boat. And Scott Palmer owns it with Tommy Thompson. And then we reset the world record at the Lucas Oil World Finals in November. But they shortened the course to 875 feet, and we still ran 265 miles an hour at speed.11. So, and it looked so effortless. It was just so smooth. We had some handling issues with the boat, and that's how I kind of got involved with it. Another guy was driving it. He run over a lot of stuff, so they asked me to come in and help him fix the boat. So we did, and we found some stuff wrong, and now it drives great, and it's really fun to drive. It's just super fast, and it's what I enjoy doing, and it's especially when it's going straight and it's doing everything that it's supposed to do. It makes it really fun to drive and just hang on, and it just tries to rip your head off all the way down the racetrack. It's pretty amazing.
All right, so now let's turn back the clock. Now, what got you into drag racing in the first place?
My dad, he always had hot rod cars and lake boats and stuff, and that's what got my interest in it originally, I think. And then I always wanted to race motocross, and my parents said, "We'll back you in anything you want to do but motocross," because my buddies were all walking around that race motocross with broken legs and broken collarbones, broken arms and stuff. So we had a pretty fast lake boat at the time, so we started off in that. Like I said, I worked our way up, and then I got, I built cars in my garage with my dad, and bought my first car when I was 14 and took it all apart and put it all back together. Just lucky I was around really gifted people my whole life so far that I was able to learn, and I mentored after, and just kind of grew up through the stages, kind of self-taught how to do welding and machining and custom painting, all that kind of stuff we did at our shop, which kind of helped me really get where I'm at today, I guess, because of ability to do different stuff for different people and keep up. Sometimes you don't always have the money to pay to drive someone's car, but you can do it with effort, with labor or machining or welding or whatever it takes. So I've been fortunate enough that's worked out well for me in the past, and so far it's still working out pretty good now too.
So what was the first car you ever drag raced in?
It was a '69 Camaro, the one I was telling you about. I built at my dad and I built in my garage. We lived in Detroit, Michigan for a couple of years. We got transferred up there. My dad worked for Texaco, and we kind of got transferred all over. But we actually had high school races up there, and our first drag race was at Milan, Michigan. And heck, that had to have been 77 or something like that, I guess. But and then we moved to Texas shortly after that, and then into Houston, and then I moved up here to Arlington about 22 years ago. And but I opened my first business in 1984, and started off with a couple hand tools, and now I've got a full-blown machine shop and a full fabrication shop and welders and jigs, and we do some English wheel work and Flemish and hammers, and we make some pretty wild stuff, but it's kind of still all about still in the same industry, but we can do all kinds of weird stuff too. I do machining and welding for several different companies around our area, but like I said, we do enough, a little bit of everything. It keeps us busy all the time. We're never slow.
That's good.
Yeah.
So how was your first time ever experience going down a drag strip?
Actually the first time I really knew I wanted to drag race, my dad sent me in the Flying Dutchman funny car when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and they set the body down. I think they were expecting me to freak out, and I knew then, I said, yep, this is what I want to do right here. And then, first time I went down that drag strip, I was like, I was really nervous about it and stuff, but as I did it, I could feel like this was where I wanted to be. And, you kind of set goals in life, and I sacrificed a lot to do it. And I've said in the past, I've been very blessed. I've had really good rides, and I've had some bad rides too, but it's part of the territory. But, right now I'm driving for Roger Hennon, and we've been good friends for a long time, and he's given me an awesome opportunity to get to do this, and I definitely cherish every moment I'm doing it. I want to do it every day, but it's so expensive, and it's just I'm blessed I get to do it 4 or 5 times a year now. So it's just you have good weekends and bad weekends and that. Just like with Topeka last year, I think we blew up 3 motors really bad, and then year before that we run it up at Indy with the dragster. So it's a roller coaster ride, but it really makes you appreciate when you do good that you need to savor the moment, because you never know, it could turn to crap after that. It's definitely a roller coaster deal, like I said.
So what year did you start racing Nitro?
In 1987, I got my license in a Top Fuel Hydro and a Coors Light boat. We built the first totally enclosed capsule for the Coors Light boat at my shop in Houston, and that part of my pay was to get my license in it, and that really kind of propelled me up into the boat racing world, and started that all going. And then in 1988, I teamed up with a guy, and I refurbished one of Billy Meyer's old funny cars, and I teamed up with another boat racer, and we put his motors out of his Top Fuel jet boat in a funny car, and we raced some match races with it. So that really got my teeth into the Nitro thing, and those 2 years right there. I mean, I've been around Top Fuel my whole life, admired all the guys like Eddie Hill and Billy Vance, who had the ambush boat, and it's just tons of people that really influenced me to do that, and who I admired and looked up to. And then when I finally got to do it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is where I want to be. And I was hooked. The first fuel pass I made in that fuel hydro, I knew that this is the path that I want to continue on. And then, like I said, blessed to get to do the car deal. Then I had Alcohol Funny Car. We ran for quite since 1999 till about 2012, I guess. And then I started driving fuel alters and stuff like that, and still doing the boat deal too, and everything from blown alcohol hydros to Top Fuel hydros stuff. So every year it seems like I'm doing a car or a boat, or doing both sometimes. Like last year I got to do it quite a few times, driving funny cars, a dragster, and the Top Fuel boat. So it's weird. It kind of goes in spurts sometimes. Sometimes I won't drive a boat for a couple of 3 or 4 years, and next thing I know, I'm driving 2 or 3 of them. So it's been a pretty cool ride so far.
So how did the name Wild Child come about?
Well, a good friend of mine had a blown alcohol flat bottom called Wild Child, and he sold one of his motors to a guy named Clayton Poole in Weatherford, Texas, and he came out with a Pro Mod car, and he called it Wild Child Dry because it was on land. And anyway, he rocked along. He crashed several Pro Mod cars, and he bought Joe Penland's old car was a world champion in 1995, I think, and he had a brand new S&W car built, but he never ran it. And Clayton bought it, and then he ran it, I don't know, just a handful of races, and then he sold it to a friend of mine, Barry Payton, up in Canada, and his son and I are really good friends. Todd and Barry and I we're all pretty close friends. And anyway, so I'd won the world championship driving for Tommy Thompson in like 1999. And at the time I was married, and we pulled our finances together and went and bought this car from Barry. And then bought a motor, put in it, and we started campaigning it. And the name Wild Child was already on the funny car, so my kids, I was going to rename the car, and my kids, they love that name. So I said, well, what the heck, I'll leave it on there. And I asked Marvin if he minded if I left the name on there and stuff. He said, no, I don't mind. So anyway, we left it on there, so it's kind of stuck, and I left it on there for, since 2000, I guess, so 18 years worth, 19 years worth already. But we changed my alcohol car over to Nostalgia Fuel car about 5 years ago, and put a Mustang, 69 Mustang body on it, and built a legal NHRA Nostalgia funny car deal. And the funny car deal was really taking off, and then I felt like it kind of got stagnant around here. I got a 69 Camaro mold. Actually, I bought it from the guy that built Jason Rupert's bodies, and I got a guy now that's laying them up out of carbon fiber, and I probably got 14, 15 customers like Michael Bartone and Richard Townsend, and sold quite a few of the bodies, but it's made out of Kevlar and carbon fiber, and the last couple I made for Bartone were 69 pounds, and you could walk across the top of them. But Jason Rupert's got one, and John Hale's car was one of my bodies, and anyway, I got quite a few of them out there, but that's kind of how I got into doing that. I was going to put a Camaro body on the car, but I was doing some work with the Children's Miracle Network back then, and then we got hooked up with the Toby Keith Foundation, and what it is, it's kind of like a miniature Ronald McDonald House where these kids and their families come to this hospital, and Toby Keith has built this really beautiful complex up there just south of Oklahoma City, and people stay there for free, and they get, their kids get, plenty of good attention there and to whatever problems they're having. And so anyway, we're trying to get the word out, and we had Toby Keith's Foundation on the side of the car, but he's a Ford guy. So after I'd already purchased the mold, they told me, after I'd already asked them, is it okay if I run a Camaro body on my car? And he said yes. So I took delivery of the mold, and about 2 days later, they said, you're going to have to put a Ford body on that thing. I'm like, ay. So anyway, I bought a Mustang body from Donnie Reeves over in, I think he's in Mississippi. And then we got it mounted on my chassis, and that's how I got the 69 Mustang. So.
Very interesting. So now, how many funny car cast events are you going to run this year?
Well, I know we're going to do the 2 Dentons for sure, and probably the Lufkin one. Our schedule on the dragster is still kind of hazy right now. We're not sure. We're going to go to Houston and see how it goes, and if it goes good, then I think we're going to probably run some more races with it. We're working on some sponsorship stuff with that, and I'm hoping that's going to take off well. And it just costs so much money to run the dragster, but what races we don't run the dragster, I'm going to try to pull my car out and run it a few of the races, because the points goes to the driver, not the car. So if we could do good at Denton this weekend, and then I could still carry it on with my car, and then still run Shane and Howard's car later in the year. They only want to run the funny car deal a couple times a year, but they've got it set up where they can take the body off, and they're going to still go run the fuel alter, because Howard wants to run that. So I'm just lucky I get to drive it with the funny car body. It's really a nice piece too. I mean, I helped to do some work on it, and Tasco stuff has always been really nice anyway. But it's really a beautiful car, well built. It was built off the concept of beefing the car up back when Eric Midland had got hurt, and it's a three bar bay car, and it's kind of like sitting in a dragster. The shoulder hoop's kind of high, and it comes straight out instead of going like at a 40-degree angle down towards the bell housing. It comes straight out, and then it goes down. So you're kind of encapsulated in the chassis, which is really cool. But yeah, I'm really excited about get to go drive it, and heck, I'll drive anything. I don't care. I just like to go racing,
So now, currently, do you have any sponsors for your any of your cars?
Yeah, got a company called Drake Construction down in they're in Conroe, Texas. They're signed on for the the Houston race, and then I have a longtime friend of mine who's a IHA world champion in Top Fuel Harley, Johnny Mancuso. He won a couple of championships actually on his Fuel Harley. They help us out for the Houston races and in the Dallas races and some of the local stuff, you know. So very fortunate to have them involved, both companies, and currently working on a couple more sponsorships to kind of help fill in the gaps. And some of those same companies are going to help me on my funny car endeavors too. So it doesn't take as much to run the funny cars that I'm going to drive, so but every little bit helps, you know. I mean, Nitro still costs $1,500 a drum for 43 gallons, so, you know, and the clutch disc and spark plugs and blah, 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 just on and on and on. So, but what's really cool about the funny car chaos, it gives a chance of you know, well, you don't have to take $3 million to go run a car. You know what I mean? I mean, you can still go run some Nitro. It doesn't, you're not going to get rich racing it, but it's 8th mile, you know, so it's not quite as hard on parts. But these guys still run hard. I mean, they, you know, Alan from up in the India area is coming down. There's a guy coming in from Massachusetts. They're coming in from all over the place to run, and it's just a fun deal. I mean, they're going to they're giving away hot dogs on Friday night. They have a driver's party at a restaurant bar called the Horny Toad on Thursday night, where all the drivers and the crew get together and hang out and just, you know, kind of mingle and that's what it's all about. Just, you know, having some fun where it's not so corporate and serious. You know what I mean? And Chris and Tara and all them, they do such a great job putting it on. And Gene Nicodemus that owns the track, he does a fantastic job prepping the track. I mean, it'll jerk your shoes off if you walk out there. So, I mean, you can throw, you know, pretty much the moon at it and it'll hook up there. But we've got Friday is supposed to be really nice weather-wise, and then we got a serious front coming in. I think the high Friday is supposed to be like 79 or 78, and then the high on Saturday is only like 59. So it's going to definitely give the crew chiefs a throw with a curveball, and I'm trying to tune these things because it's going to have a whole lot of more beans on them the next day with the air being way better, you know. So, but you know, they advertise it as Funny Car Chaos, but they're going to have jet cars there. They're going to have a couple of Fuel Walters there. They'll have some Pro Mod cars there. So they're bringing the show back into it, and that's what I really like about it. Some of the cars do dry hops and kind of old school, you know, and then they're going to have the old school gassers there. It's really going to be a neat show. I'm excited about it.
No, so Ray Kelly's running his jet again?
I don't know who they have booked in for the jet, to be honest with you. I just knew they're having some jet cars.
I know last year it was Ray Kelly with his Game Exchange jet dragster.
Right.
Because he lives up there in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see the gassers advertised.
And they're so cool to look at, man. I mean, it's just, you know, it brings back memories from when I used to go with my dad. I was a little kid. I mean, that was the deal back then, you know. And shoot, I think the first time I went to drag strip, I was only probably 6 or 7 years old, you know. And it was like the most awesome thing I'd ever seen in my life. So, as I haven't grown up, I've just grown out. That's how I put it most of the time.
So, who were the drag racers that inspired you?
You know, like Don Gartlitz and Don the Snake Perdome, and then we had some local guys. Jim Naramore up in Peoria, Illinois. I think you're from the Illinois area, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Naramore used to have a place in East Peoria. Him and my dad were big buddies when I was a little kid, and he was a big influence. He had a fuel dragster and a Bill Pryor had driven, and he had a fuel funny car too. So I heard he got inducted in the Illinois Hall of Fame a few years back, but I haven't seen him since I was a little kid. But him and then John Tedder used to have a car, a Super Stock A automatic I used to work on. It was called Mr. Motec. On the side of it, he used to be way up in the Motec school department for Chrysler division, and he taught me a lot of stuff on fitting pistons to chambers and that kind of stuff. But I don't know, in the drag boat stuff, I've Billy Vance and Jimmy Wright and Eddie Hill, and man, the list goes on and on. I've always had a lot of heroes in this sport, but it it's a dedicated, anything of racing, it takes a lot of dedication. You don't just usually buy your way into this stuff. Yeah, you got to have money to run it, but that's what I really enjoy about the funny car chaos. It kind of brings, money always wins, but you still got to, conditions with the track, and you got to have, your own clutch setups, and on and on and on. It's kind of brought the old school back to it, and that's what I really enjoy about the funny car chaos deal. But I still love the big show stuff, man. I mean, there's nothing like the horsepower of, you hit the gas on 10 or 11,000 horsepower, and it slams you in the seat, and it feels like it's ripping your eyeballs out of your head and going down the racetrack. And you hit the parachutes and try to throw your eyeballs out the other way. So, it's pretty, like I said, I'm very blessed to even get to do this and to live out my dream of getting to go 330 miles an hour is just amazing.
So how was your first experience in a Nitro car?
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was one of those. Like I said, it really got my teeth sunk in the deal. Back then, it was a 2-speed car, and we run it on about 80%. So it hit pretty hard. It was cool, but I think the coolest thing at first was my first hit in the Fuel Funny car was in the evening when I stood on the gas and the flames were over the roof. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, I drove Dale Creasy Sr.'s car up in Michigan a few years back, and, it had a big pump. It was a big show car, and I started my license in it, and that got my attention when the flames were over the roof, and it was right at dusk, and the sun was, down over the trees, and it was like just beautiful flames coming out there. Not that I was looking at it, but I could see it in my peripheral vision. I was like, oh yeah, this is way cool. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, another cool thing about Funny Car Chaos, you get to see the Nitro guys go against the alcohol guys.
Yeah, and it's and they got some fast cars like Ken Singleton. We're friends from way back from the drag boat where he used to run an alcohol flat bottom that really hauled ass back in the day. And he's a smart guy, him and his brother, and it's a family deal for them. And they were testing the other day. I think he ran a 373 at way over 200, so in the 8th mile. So he's got that deal figured out. I think he put a screw blower on it over the winter too. So he's going to be tough. And it's run what you brung. Some of them guys got traction control. They got they run the grids. They got all kinds of stuff they're doing to try to make the thing run consistent. So, and it's cool because you can actually bring a nitrous car out there if you wanted to. It just has to be a funny car. So, it's just it's a cool concept. I mean, some of us have probably gone overboard and made too mean of motors for them and stuff, but that's just the nature of racing. You want to be the fastest one there and turn all the wind lights on.
Yeah, I think Singleton was undefeated last year.
Yep. He runs strong.
Oh yeah.
And he's got a beautiful car.
Yeah. I remember the story that he had to scramble to get a funny car body before Funny Car Chaos.
Yeah.
He got one like at the last minute, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And then Jackie Stedham and him, he's been Division 4 champion several times. I got to race against Jackie back in the day, but he's very talented, and he does chassis and hangs bodies and built Stedham trailers for years and years, and so he's a very talented guy, and him and his brother both been over there helping Ken with that thing over the years, and his brother Ronnie used to tune my funny car for a little while, and then he helped Ken Singleton and Scott Palmer. He's been around. He's a smart guy, but he's got him, got him with a good baseline, and then Ken's a smart enough guy. He took it from there, and he's doing outstanding. I mean, like he went undefeated, and like I said in testing, he did stellar too. So yeah, he's got a handle on it. He knows what he's doing. He's going to be tough. I heard he's going to run some NHRA stuff with that dog too. So them guys better pay attention because he'll be tough.
Now, is John Hale running this weekend?
He's going to be out there, but he's not racing right now. I heard he was working on the big show deal, but I don't know how that panned out for him. But I haven't talked to him. We've texted actually back and forth today, and him and some of his crew guys are just kind of networking. We're going to probably have a cold beer tomorrow night together at the Horny Toad for the drivers meeting deal, or drivers meet and greet, or whatever they call it. But so that'd be fun. You know, the camaraderie, hanging out with all these guys and meeting new people, and that's what makes it fun, you know? I mean, it's like I said, you're not doing it for the money. You're just doing it to have fun, and it's about the cheapest way you can go run some nitro, and it don't cost you $1 million, you know?
I know Jeff Cameron's running this weekend.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I haven't even seen the list, man. We've been so busy at my shop. I just, you know, I heard Alan was coming, and I know that the guy that bought John Hale's car, Brandon Lewis, him and his dad are coming down, and he ran stellar the other day at the Pro Mod, the Mid-City or Mid-South Pro Mod Association, I think they call it. They ran at Ennis, and he went down there and did some testing, and he ran really well down there. So they're going to be tough. I mean, they got a bunch of good cars. I mean, it's not a bunch of leakers. I mean, they're all quality cars, and you'll see everything from a '69 Nova to, you know, a late model big show deal. You know, so it's you see the whole gamut of racing, but in funny cars, but you know they'll have all kinds of different power plants in it. So it makes it exciting. I think it gives something the fans to look at and, you know, come out and cheer us on, I hope.
Yeah, young Jordan Balu, he puts on a great show at that Nova.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
All the dry hopping.
Yeah.
Now, when you say Alan's coming, you mean Alan Millendorf?
Yeah, he's coming down.
With the big header flames?
Yeah, man, that's one of the reasons I put a bigger fuel pump on my car. It wasn't to make it run better. I just want those big flames out of the headers. I think it looks cool. Makes great pictures, you know.
Yeah, the fan.
But and another thing too, you run it on the ridge side, you don't have a tendency to hurt it as much, you know.
The fans love the big header flames.
Yeah, Jake, you know, he's been around this stuff his whole life. You know, he's a really talented guy too, and you know, with his dad Mark and stuff, and they run all over the country with their nostalgia car, and of course he works with Donna's on the Capco car, and then he built that funny car out of his garage for Alan, and just an awesome craftsman, you know, and I really enjoy looking at his work, and he's a really good tuner too. So yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I mean, there'll be some good running cars, and there'll be some good times. Just hope we can get it to the track on Saturday. It's going to be a whole different ball game on Friday to Saturday if this weather comes in like they're talking about.
Yeah, I remember the first funny car cast back in 2017. Mark actually won that one, right?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah, that funny car cast, man, it just keeps growing and growing. It's gonna keep growing. Chris got a great thing going there.
He does, and he manages it well. You know, he takes care of everybody, and you know, we've been friends for a long time, and Tara, his wife, we're all good buddies. They ran with us when we ran the Gas Monkey Dragster and stuff too. But he does a lot for I mean, they're all in. I mean, they do the front engine dragster stuff, and they got this program going. He takes all the pictures. I mean, I thought I lived, eat, and sleep drag racing, but I think him and Tara are in it as much or more than I am. But great people. I'm proud to call them my friends, and really looking forward to this weekend hanging out with them and go do some drag racing. I'm ready, man. It's been a long winter.
So how many crew members do you take out when you go drag racing?
On the dragster, we take probably 10 to 12. And I know that seems like a lot, but man, there's nobody on my team that stands around a bull. I mean, everybody's got a job, and it's a lot of work on a dragster. And the funny car, Shane and Howard have their own crew. They probably they're probably got 8 people there. I know when I run my funny car, I've got at least 8 people to come help me. And heck, it takes 4 to lift that heavy potty off. But it's just and you got to turn it around fast with this deal, Chris and them. Sometimes you only got like 20 minutes, so you drain the oil, back the chutes, run the valves, and put new oil in it, put nitro in it, and warm it up, and top it back. Excuse me, I had the hiccups. Top it back off, and go back to the starting line.
So now,
but I think that format is going to help. You don't have time to pull the heads and change pistons. So you got to run it kind of pretty safe, but you still got to go fast.
Right. So do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions?
Not really. The only one I probably do, I get in the car or a boat the same way every time. I get on the driver's side, and that's about the only thing I do different, or I do the same every time. And I guess there's more to it than that. I always check over all the safety stuff as I get in the car and touch and feel and look, and just not that I don't have the faith. I've run my own program for so long with no money that I try to pay attention to all the detail I can, and it doesn't matter if it's my car or somebody else's car. Every lap is important to me. There's not. So you're only going to get to do this so many times in life. So every time I put myself in a car, I try to do the best I can do every day. And that's a philosophy I've always had in racing. Because you never know when you're going to retire, or you're going to quit, or what could happen or whatever. But so I try to make the best of every pass I do. So in order to do that, you got to pay attention to detail. But besides that, that's the only thing I do ritual, I guess.
So now, after all the years, Kevin, what still keeps you passionate about doing drag racing?
The excitement of getting to do it. It's crazy. Like, I don't get to do it like Tony Schumacher was doing it, or Leah, or all them people that I want to do it every weekend, but I just don't have the funding to go do it. And hopefully someday I will before I get too old, but that's my goal is to do that. But the thrill of it after sitting out all winter, you feel like it's Christmas Day when they first strap you in the car and you fire the motor up, and I go, heck yeah, that's why I get out of bed every morning. I mean, that motor thundering, and you let on the clutch, pull it into the water box, and staying on the gas on the burnout, and I'm like, and then when you stage your car and you cut a light and it slams you so hard in the seat you can't even breathe, and you go through the end of the timing traps and hit the chutes, and then you're ready to go do it again, and we should take it around like a go-kart and go right back to the start line and do it again. That's what keeps me motivated. That energy it gives me inside, and like I said, I've sacrificed a lot, business and family, and to get where we're at today. And I wouldn't change anything. There's probably a few things I'd change, but I mean, mainly it just had a goal and stuck to it. And like they say, don't give up on your dreams. I mean, this is where I've dreamed to be my whole life, and I'm actually getting to do it. And I'm very grateful to the people that helped me get here. And it's definitely a team effort. I mean, it's not an individual. It's not the driver. It's not the crew chief. It's the team. And like I said, Roger Hennon and Shane and Howard Ferris, I mean, they've given me some awesome equipment to strap my butt to and get to ride this thing. So I want to give them back what they've given me, and that's why I want to be the best at what I do every day. And I'm really excited about the weekend. I think it's going to be really good. And both my teams are excited that we're getting to do both, and we've got some really good parts. I'm excited. It's in the dragster, we're only going to do like 330 hits because I just don't want to take a chance on hurting anything before we go to Houston. Our main goal is just to go out there. Our main goal was just to go out there and set our pit space up like it's going to be at an NHRA national event, and get the awning set up, and we purchased another 18-wheeler trailer from Bruce Litton over the winter, and we've got all the fixtures in it, and we kept our other 18-wheeler trailers. We're going to have it like the support trailer slats. We're going to be able to rebuild all our cylinder heads and the air conditioning and the heat. Our clutch guy's going to have his own little room back there and the air conditioning and the heat. It's just going to be a really nice setup, and it's going to be a lot more user-friendly. So we want to set all that up and get the cables and the air lines and all that made up. And the mat's going to be rolled out like we're at a national event, and just give a good first trial run so we can work out any of the kinks before we go to Houston. So, and then on top of that, we're just going to, try to knock the rust off of all us, including me, and go out and do a good burnout and back up and stage the car and run to about the 330 mark and click it off. Come back and check it all out, and if it's all good, we'll may not make another hit, or we'll just throw it in the box and get ready to go to Houston.
Now, have you ever been out to Bakersfield?
Several times, yeah. I drove a guy named Bob and Steve McIntyre's Fuel Funny car out there, a nostalgia car. I used to drive their Top Fuel Hydro too back in the day, and I helped them put the car together, and then I raced it for them several races. We went to that Saturday Night Nitro a few times with it. Really enjoyed doing that. I love going to California and race, and but yeah, I've done that several times, and then went out there and helped with the Blue Max car when Dale Emery was tuning it, and worked with Ronnie Young and all the crew, and we had a blast. Went out there several times with them. But yeah, I love going out to Bakersfield. I race boats in Lake Mean a lot too. So I've been out there for the cars and the boats a lot over the years.
So now, what are some of your favorite tracks to run on?
Well, your hometown track for sure, like Ennis and Houston, I love. Vegas was a blast. I like them all. The boat race in Phoenix was probably my favorite of all time, and I finally got to win the World Finals. I've been going there since the early 80s, and we won the World Finals this year driving, Tommy Thompson and Scott Palmer's boat, and it was tuned by Todd Haas and Tom Conway. Had a really good deal there this last year, and it was a blast to go there. I love that boat racing track there. And then, Waco, Texas stands out in boat racing, Augusta, Georgia, But actually, I really enjoyed going to Martin, Michigan. We went there, and like I said, I drove Dale Creasy Sr.'s car there, and then we ran the Blue Max car up there, and that was a neat track. Enjoyed going there. The weather was amazing. A lot of oxygen in the air there.
So now, what have been the quickest ETs you've had with the dragster and the funny car?
The fastest in the dragster was at Indy when we run it up the other year, year and a half ago, I guess, 2 years ago almost now. We ran a 375 at 326, I believe. And the funny car, the fastest I've ever been is a 560 at 259 in my alcohol car. On Nitro, the fastest I've been in my personal car was a 593. That was 5 or 6 years ago. I only ran it in the quarter mile a few times. Most of the time we just ran it in the 8th mile.
So now for you, Kevin, what goes in the preparation for you to get ready for a weekend of drag racing?
Well, on the dragster, I do all the cylinder heads. We actually have 10 sets of heads this year. So we service the heads after every run. We take them totally apart. We measure all the valves and wrap all the valves in, set all the springs, and put them back together. And then, during the week, we, like the last couple of weeks, we got these new cylinder heads in.